we are dealing with character functions. Character functions, we have case conversion functions, which is the one we have just done now. Lowercase, uppercase, and init cap. These are the ones we've just done. Now, in the character manipulation functions, we have concat, substring, length, instring, lpad, rpad, trim, replace. Let's go straight into it and see practically how it works. There is a table called dual. It has only one column and one row. Is actually used to query for something that is not existing in the database. Are you with me? It's used to query for something that is not existing, because for every select query, you must have both the select clause and the from clause. So that dual. Now, for example, if you look at the database, if you run this database, if you run this, there is no such thing as sysdate. You can't get the date of this computer inside this database. It's not stored in the database. But if I want to check the date of today's date, how will I get it? So it will be the date of the computer. Now I will say select. So there's a function called sysdate, though I've not gotten to date. I'm not supposed to even use that from dual. So this is the dual I'm telling you about. So there's a table called dual, right? And you can use it to select anything. You can use it to do mathematical calculation. So if I click on this, it's just going to tell me today's date. Can you see? It brought out today's date. Today is 4th of August, 2023. Now, I'm going to use this table. I'm going to use this table to run each of these functions that I just showed you. I'm not going to run these functions using the table in the database. I won't use this employee table again. I'm going to use this dual. So I'm going to introduce characters that are not existing in the database. And I'm going to use the functions to control them. Are you with me? I said there is a table in the database called dual. This table has only one column and it has one row. It's a dummy table. It's used to perform simple non-database specific operation. That is something that is not existing in the database. It's a dummy table just to complete the query. So if I say select concat, now I'm calling this function. Are you with me? I'm calling this function concat. Now, this function is expecting two characters, two arguments, I mean. So I'm going to put it in brackets, and then I'll type the first argument. I'm just going to type a string literal. I'm going to type a string literal. So that string literal is like this. Hello. And then, comma, I'll put another one again, world. Hello world. And then I will close it. So select concat hello world from dual. What is it going to do? It's going to join these two words together. When I run it, can you see? Are you with me? Yes. Do you understand? I said this dual is a dummy table that I'm just using to complete this query of the select clause. So since I have a select clause, I must have a from clause. But the dual doesn't have, is a dummy table that has only one column and one row. So I'm going to use it to actually operate all these functions by supplying string literals on my own. These string literals are not existing in the database. So I just want to show you the work of each of these functions. So I said concat, and I supplied hello world, hello and world. These are two arguments. So what the concat will do is to join these two arguments together and to supply me as this hello world. So I'm going to do it again for substring. So I'll say select substring. I'm calling the function. Now, the moment you start typing, it will show you. Now, look at this substring. Look at the syntax. This is a function that is requesting, that is expecting how many arguments? 3 arguments. The first one is character, second one is the position, and then the substring length. So I'm going to type it str complete, and then I'll open the parentheses. What do I want to type inside there? I will type a string literal, which is hello world. Hello world. Right? This is the string literal. Then I'll put comma. So I am saying I want to take a position. From this word, I want it to start from the beginning. So I put 1. That is the meaning of that one. I'm following the syntax of that substring that appeared that time. It's expecting 3 arguments. So I supply this string literal, which is hello world. Now, I am not querying from the database. I am just using this dual table to complete my query. I'm supplying this string literal by myself. So I say, and I just want you to see the function of this, the work of these functions. So I supply this hello world to it. And I'm saying start counting from the first character, which is H. And then how many characters? Count 5 characters and tell me and give me that as the output. Then I will say from dual because it's a select clause. I have the select clause. I need to have a from clause. Without the from clause, the select clause cannot function. So that is why I'm using this dummy table. So this table is owned by one of the users in the database schema, and everybody can access it. So this information is not existing in the database. I'm just using it to show you the operation of this function. So I'm going to run this. See? From this hello world, it has been able to bring out hello. Because I say start counting from 1 and give me 5 characters. If I want to bring out word from this hello world, what do? I will just simply change this position. I will say start counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Start counting from 6. Start counting from 6 and to the end. So no need to put this 5. I'll just say, this one says start counting from 6 and then count all the remaining characters. So it's to bring out word. Can you see that? You know, it's expecting 3 arguments, but I'm supplying 2 arguments. So what it does is that it takes the first argument as my string, and it will take the second argument as the position. The third argument that I should have supplied that I didn't supply is taking that one to be complete, meaning start counting from the 6th character and count everything to the end. That is what this simply does. Now, if I now say select length, I'm calling another function, length, and then I supply this string literal to it, which is the hello world. Hello world. And then I close the bracket. I say from dual. So what I'm saying is that count how many characters are in this hello world. That is what I'm simply saying. So I supply this hello world to length, and I say count it for me, tell me. So it's going to return number. So when I run it, you see, it's telling me that I have 10. So if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you see that? So I have a function that does that count, and that is length. Are you following me? So I'm going to use the in string. So select in string, right? Are you with me? So I will supply the string literal again, which is the hello world. Hello world. So this one is expecting two arguments. So I want you to tell me the position of W. So I'll put it, it's also a string. So I'll put it like this, and then I'll close the bracket from dual. So I'm saying, tell me the position of W in this hello world. When I run it, see, 6. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, W is the 6th character. Functions are a very powerful feature of SQL. They can be used to do the following. I told you before, when you say somebody is a doctor, that name, doctor, automatically tells you, a medical doctor, tells you what the person does. You will not carry a carpentry job to go and give a medical doctor when you say somebody is a medical doctor. When you say somebody is a carpenter, automatically you know what that person does. So if you have a problem in your house that has to do with carpentry work, you know who to go and call. Once you call the person, you know that this person is coming to execute this particular type of task. That is the function of the person. Now we have entered into that realm too with this SQL language. Like I said, this is a completely different world on its own. And we have beings that are in this world surviving, living, making this world function. That is how you have to picture it. If you don't picture it that way, it will be difficult for you to understand what we are doing. So, functions are beings that have a particular role designed for them. They are not going to do anything other than what they've been created to do. And they have names. So, when you want to do something, you have at the back of your mind your intention. And you know that there is a function that can do that thing for you. You simply call that function. And you supply the parameters to the function. And the function will now execute and do the job. That function is a name. Inside that name is the program that will carry out the work.